All praise to the Most High and to His Son Yeshua. This is part three. Congratulations if you made it this far. Um, so we'll be going into the Mosaic covenant. This will be the last covenant that we go into before we get into the new covenant. Um, so let's just jump right in. Let me share my screen. Jesus. So let's jump right in. Exodus 19 and 5. It says, Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Right? So here, the Most High is coming into covenant with Israel. Right? So just a quick recap: we have the Noah covenant, the covenant of protection. Right? We have the Abrahamic covenant. That was part two. That's the covenant of promise. Right? Uh, some key points in those two covenants were sacrifices and a token, right? So now, if the scriptures is consistent, if the Lord and the Most High is consistent, we should see sacrifices and we should see a token in the Mosaic covenant. Um, so let's get right to it. Now, so he's entering into the covenant, right? 19:5. If they will obey his voice. So now the Mosaic covenant is a covenant of obedience, right? So we have a covenant of protection with Noah, covenant of promise with Abraham. Now this is a covenant of obedience with with Israel, right? All right, let's jump down and see something very interesting. 1910. We'll start at 5. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord had commanded. Right? Uh, right. So look at verse 10. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go into the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. Now, I know I'm using this term a lot, but this is very key, right? This is called a mikvah, right? This is a ritual cleansing, a ritual bath, right? And as we know, Christ says Moses wrote of him. And we know everything in the Old Testament pretty much foreshadows Christ, right? All the main points in the Old Testament foreshadows Christ. Now, what would be the reason why the Most High is telling the people to go wash, right? To sanctify themselves. This is a foreshadowing of baptism, right? Now, this all will be explained when we get to the actual new covenant, break all that down. But this is just a precursor. So that mikvah that the Most High is telling Moses to tell the people of Israel to perform, that is symbolic. That is a foreshadowing of the baptism, right? The actual submersion in water, right? Not the sprinkling of water, not the baptism of the word in your mind, the actual being submerged in water, right? So now, um, that's what they're supposed to do, right? And be ready against the third day. For the third day, the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves that ye go not up into the mountain or touch the border of it. Whatsoever touches the mount shall surely be put to death. And there shall not a hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through, whether it be beast or man, it shall not live. When the trumpet sounded long, they shall come up to the mount. Now, this is all kind of symbolic of Christ. I mean, we have the third day, right? They can come up to the mountain on the third day, and then the Most High will come down. Christ resurrected on the third day, right? Don't touch the mountain, right? Whoever touches will surely die. What did Christ say after he resurrected to Mary? Don't touch me, for I have not yet ascended unto the Father. Right. So all this stuff, when we have the Old Testament, when we have the Tanakh, when we have the scriptures as our foundation to our faith, right? As far as knowledge, as far as um, the history of our faith. Now, when we get to the New Covenant or the New Testament, right? Now we can see without you know without any kind of uh, contradictions how all this plays together with Scripture, right? With the Old Testament, right? Now everything just lines up beautifully, and that's why I said this series is really is revelatory because it really opens up the scriptures, right? Everything makes sense. Nothing. Now you see that everything was for a purpose, right? Um, but anyway, so that's just something that we can dive into, right? That we will dive into once we actually get to the New Testament or New Covenant, right? All right. So now continue 19:14. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people and sanctified them, and they washed their clothes. So they performed the actual mikvah, right? And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day, come not at your wives, right? That means to abstain from sex. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there was thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. Again, that trumpet right now. This is the season of the fall feast, right? So people are celebrating the Feast of Trumpets. People are celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles, all this stuff, all these celebrations are coming on. And again, the Feast of Trumpets, that's the day that the Lord Christ will be coming back, right? Without a doubt. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. All right. So let's go on down. And so again, the Most High is telling Moses not to let the people break through. Moses saying to the Lord, people cannot come up to the Mount Sinai, for thou charges us, saying, set the bounds about the mount and sanctify. All right. And the Lord said unto him, away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee, but let not the priests and the people break through to come up unto the Lord, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down to the people and spake unto them. Right. Now, let's continue. So again, let's go back. So again, he's entering into covenant, right? But the condition is obedience. So if the Israelites obey his voice, then and keep his covenant, which is what he proclaims with his voice, what they're obeying, right? That's the covenant, the things that he's telling them to do, right? Then they shall be a peculiar treasure above all people, right? So now let's see what those requirements are. And God spake all the words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. All right. So now we have 10 commandments, as you can see, right? So we have the 10 commandments, right? Now he's speaking this. So again, he said to obey everything that I say, right? So verse 19. And they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you that and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. And the Lord said unto Moses, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. So now, Exodus 20:23, he's continuing the requirements. He's continuing the commandments. So he said the first 10 that everybody knows, right? The children of Israel said, no, we don't want to hear God, Moses. You tell us what he says, because we scared, right? So then the Most High talks to Moses, and then Moses is going to relay all this stuff to the children of Israel. So he's continuing the requirements. So the misconception with Christianity is that, all we have to follow is the 10 commandments. That's it. Well, according to this encounter, the Most High wasn't done speaking after he said the 10. Had not the children of Israel interrupted and been scared, he would have continued on with 3 more chapters of commandments, right? Which is what he do, right? So this is Exodus 20. We have the 10 commandments. The people said, no, we don't want to hear it. And so he picks it back up at Exodus 20 and 23, right? So let's see where he stops with this covenant, with what he's telling the people to do. Chapter 21, the ordinance for the people. Now, these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. So here's a list of the things that we should do, right? So he's still talking. He's still telling Moses what to tell the people. Chapter 22, property rights. Again, these are still more commandments. What else we have? Sundry laws, right? Still more commandments. He's still talking. Sundry laws continue. The Sabbath and the land. 3 national feasts, right? Conquest of the land. So all this stuff, right? And we get to 24. And he said unto Moses, come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship you afar off. And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. Right? So now Moses, chapter 24, verse 3, he comes back to the people. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord had said, we will do. What are the words the Lord said that Israel said they would do? It's chapters 20 through 23. Go back on your own time and read that. That was everything that the Most High told the children of Israel to do. That's everything that they agreed to, right? Now check it out. This is where the covenant happens. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord and rose up early in the morning, building an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord has said we will do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord has made with you concerning all these words. Now, if you can't see the foreshadowing of Christ, I don't think you have the Spirit in you, right? So for one, let's kind of recap. Let's unpack this, right? The sacrifice. Part 1, we saw the sacrifice that Noah did and then came into covenant. We saw the sacrifice in part 2 that Abraham did that came into covenant. Now in part 3, we see the sacrifice of the children of Israel that Moses had to do. And he sprinkled the blood and it brought them into covenant because now they said we will obey everything that the Most High told them to do. Right? Now, what's in that book of the covenant? And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord has said we would do and be obedient. That's Exodus 20 through 23. Everything that's in those chapters that the Most High told Moses, that Moses wrote that in the book of the covenant, right? So again, you have sacrifice, right, in all 3 covenants, right? And obviously in the new covenant, kind of getting ahead of myself, Christ's sacrifice, right? So that's all I'm gonna say, right? And then you have in the Mosaic covenant, something has changed, right? Now there's a mikvah, there's a washing, right? Again, that's a foreshadowing of what was expected. That's a foreshadowing of what is expected of us in the new covenant, right? That's a mikvah, that's a ritual cleansing. Because have you ever noticed when John was in the wilderness baptizing, nobody ever questioned John as, what are you doing? What is this? What is this baptism? What is this? Why are you dipping people in water? No, it was already rooted in their culture. They understood mikvahs. They understood which ritual cleanings, right? Um, Now another thing has been added to the Mosaic covenant that we will see moving forward. 24:11. Um, then went up Moses, well, start at 9. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as if were the body of heaven in its clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw God and did eat and drink. Again, the covenantal meal. The very word covenant means to eat, right? We saw that in part 1 and part 2. Go back and look at that. That word covenant, matter of fact, let's go ahead. Covenant means eat. Let's see. It's the riff from AH 1262. Bara, to eat, consume, right? If we go down here to the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it says, since among Orientals to eat together is almost the same as to make a covenant of friendship, the Hebrews too were accustomed to eating together when entering into a covenant. Again, it all goes together, right? It all goes together, right? So that's why they ate together. That's a covenantal meal. Again, if you can't see where this is going in the new covenant, I really don't think you have the spirit. What happened at the Last Supper? What happened at Passover? They had a covenantal meal. He came into covenant. He said, "This is the blood of the new covenant. This is my body, which is broken." Right? He's coming into covenant with his people, right? Into all that come into him, right? So again, the things that changed in the Mosaic, or that was added to the Mosaic covenant, right, was a mikvah, was a washing, which is foreshadowed to baptism. Then there's a covenantal meal, right, which you eat together to signify that you're coming into covenant with each other, right? So again, this all plays a part. Now, what do we have in the first covenant with Noah? The token. The token was what? The rainbow, right? The Abrahamic covenant, the token was circumcision, right? Now, in the third covenant, in the Mosaic covenant, the token is the Shabbat, all right? Let's go to that. Let's go to Exodus. Let's go to 31. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to 31. All right, 31 and 13. All right, the sign of the Shabbat, right? Now, token means sign. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doeth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. What's the emphasis right here on Shabbat? Work. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested. He was refreshed. The token or the sign of the old covenant, or the Mosaic covenant, which is considered the old covenant, is the Shabbat, right? Let's see this for sure. 16, 4 and 5. Exodus 16, 4 and 5. Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. And it shall come to pass that on the sixth day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. So again, the Shabbat is the sign of whether or not you're going to keep the whole law, whether you're in covenant or not, right? Because let's go, let's keep going. Uh, let's see. He said, I think he said, oh, okay, let's see. Look, there we go. Exodus 16:28. What is let's skip up. And Moses said, Eat, Exodus 16:25. And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is Shabbat unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is Shabbat, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day to gather, and they found none. And the Lord said unto Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for that the Lord has given you the Shabbat, therefore he giveth you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place, let no man go out of his place on the seventh day. So them breaking the Shabbat, the Most High saw that as them refused to keep his commandments and his laws, right? That's the token, that's the sign, right? For Abraham, that circumcision was a sign that he was in covenant, that you was in covenant with the Most High. If any man didn't get circumcised, he was to be cut off, right? That's how serious that token was. Just like the Shabbat is a token for the old covenant. Whoever broke it, it's like breaking the totality of his laws and of his commandments, right? Let's see this in Isaiah 56:6. He says, Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant. The Shabbat in the old covenant is synonymous, right? I don't think I put that up there. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much uh, the Mosaic covenant. So pretty much the Mosaic covenant is everything the Most High told the people, the children of Israel, to do in the wilderness, right? So we can go Exodus 20 to 23. That was written in the book of the covenant, right? Um, the first set of tables of stone, go back and read that. It's Exodus 25 to 31. That's when he actually took the stones up there, and that deals with pretty much the dressings of the tabernacle, how to erect it, what goes on top, what goes inside, pretty much the tabernacle, right? And then there was the second set of Exodus 34. Let's go back there. The covenant renewed, right? And he said, Behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord, for it is a terrible thing that I would do with thee. Right? So the covenant is being renewed. Right? So this is all the stuff that he's telling them to do. And this is a little side note. So he's telling them thrice in a year, your man shall appear before Israel, observe the Feast of Weeks, 6 days thou shalt work. So he's saying the Shabbat, thou shalt make no molten God. So he's giving them another 10, right? So look what he says. And the Lord said unto Moses, Write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel, right? So with this right here, he's made a covenant with him and Israel. And look what it said. And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. So this is when he went right back up with the 40 tablets, with the stone tablets. And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the word of the covenant, the 10 commandments. So right here, Exodus, let's say Exodus 34:10 through Exodus 34 and 26. Those are the 10 commandments. They're actually identified as the 10 commandments, right? But these aren't the 10 these ain't the 10 commandments that Christianity speak of. They speak of the other ones in Exodus 20 that they heard, right? But that's a whole nother breakdown. You know, there's in jewelry, there's the first 10 that they heard, and there's these 10, and they're supposed to be separate and all this stuff. You just got to do your own research. You research. Um, but yeah, so that's the second set. So pretty much, and then you got Leviticus, the priestly requirements. That's part of the covenant, right? You have Numbers. That's part of the covenant. So the Mosaic covenant consists of obedience, and it's to obey everything that He told us to do in the wilderness, right? That's the covenant. That's the Mosaic covenant, right? The aspects of that covenant is the mikvah, right? The ritual cleansing, that's symbolic, that foreshadows baptism. You have the covenantal meal, right? That foreshadows Passover and the Last Supper that Christ did before He died. You have sacrifice, right? Moses made a sacrifice, sprinkled the blood on the book, on the altar, on the people. Christ shed His blood, right? And you have the token. The token of the Mosaic covenant is the Shabbat. The token of the new covenant, we'll get to that. Like I said, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Because yeah, we can see how the similarities go with the new covenant. But once we get into what type of covenant the new covenant is, that's going to open a whole nother box of information, and that we're going to have to go through, right? From Old Testament on, from Genesis to Revelations. We're gonna confirm that the new what type of covenant the new covenant is, right? So y'all stay tuned. Y'all be blessed, and we'll see you next time.